Hi Fronds, welcome back to Botanical Woman. I'm Christine, and today I want to talk to you guys about terrariums and building your own. I find them to be a lot of fun and they're excellent for propagating plants, so let's dive into it. Let's start with the jar. A good place to look for a jar is at a thrift shop. I got a nice gallon-sized jar with no lid for 50 cents, but that's not a problem because you could just get some plastic wrap and use a rubber band like I've done here with this vase, and it looks amazing. You can't really see from afar, and you could also obviously use an aquarium like I have, or just any kind of clear jars. You can even use plastic ones if you can find one of those. And the size does matter, the bigger the better, but overall you could start small and just start propagating. For the medium, I recommend that you use sphagnum moss. It is super easy, and if you don't have any, you could probably use perlite, but I still prefer to use sphagnum moss, and I'll explain why. Is because it holds a good amount of moisture, but not too much, and also it kind of stays together as a clump, so if you were to do any kind of maintenance, it doesn't like fly everywhere. So I prefer sphagnum moss over perlite or any kind of like pebbly substrate. The one thing about using sphagnum moss and building terrariums in general is that you want to make sure that you squeeze out all the water out of the sphagnum moss and then just have it damp and then leave it in. I think a lot of terrariums end up failing because there's too much moisture. So the key here is make sure the sphagnum moss is damp, and that is all. It's actually really easy. Now for the fun part, let's talk about the plants. I like to use propagations, particularly one-node cuttings. If you can get like philodendron or pothos, cut them up into little one-node cuttings and then they start growing little baby vining plants for you. Super cute. I've done that with the micans here and also the philodendron lemon lime. You can also try like alocasia corns and throw those in. What else have I had success with? Calatheas are really good, and peperomias are great as well. And of course Hoyas, you know, any cuttings you can throw in there. You can also use rooted plants if that's what you want. And yeah, so just have fun with it. The maintenance is actually super easy. You have to just think about it as a closed ecosystem. You don't want there to be too much moisture or too much heat or too much light. For my terrariums, I give them about 250 foot candles, and that's like, you know, bare minimum low light. If there's too much condensation, your plants will melt because of too much water. So all you have to do is open it up and clean off, wipe off any excess moisture and or remove any debris of plants, because as the plants rot, they will release moisture into the ecosystem. So you want to create a balanced environment. So it doesn't have to be too hot, you don't have to give it too much light, and just keep an eye on the moisture. I usually will care for my terrariums about once a month, and sometimes I let them even go a little bit longer than that. It's only really to remove any dead foliage, and also if there's just too much condensation building up, then that's the only time I really go and open it. Otherwise, it's kind of just doing its own thing, and I kind of love it. Let me know in the comments below if you found some amazing jars at Goodwill. Like this is the one I got for 50 cents. And I still haven't built a terrarium out of it, but that's the plan. But yeah, let me know what good finds you find at your local thrift shops, and I will see you in the next one. Happy growing!